Good morning, my name is Christel from Klerk, Independent Technical Analyst. The first item on our list today is the Rand against the American dollar, and we can see that this currency pair at the moment is oversold, right? That stochastic is below 820. That means the probability for the Rand to weaken against the American dollar is more likely. Now we can see this week's candle is not finished yet. Remember, these are weekly graphs, so every candle represents the price action of a week. Now, this is a bullish engulfing candle. It can also be seen as a tweezer bottom, right? Because I've got two consecutive candles where support was found at almost the same level after a retracement. So optimism will be confirmed above 17 Rand 47. That is the high of last week. Above that level, the tweezer bottom will be confirmed, implying a turnaround, implying that we can see a weaker Rand against the American dollar. Now, at the moment, we are trading below the 40-week moving average. That means for the little bit of a longer-term investor, in other words, a 3-month plus view, we still expect a stronger Rand. As long as the Rand trades below that 40-week moving average, waiting at 1841, the expectation is a stronger Rand. As soon as the Rand starts to consolidate above the 40-week moving average, we expect a weaker Rand. But we know nothing drops or rises in one line. So we've got a lot of pulls and bounces. So we expect a bounce at the moment. So the big question is, how high can the Rand go? So the next strong resistance that needs to be overcome is waiting at 18 Rand and 2 cents, and obviously then that 40-week moving average. And then the big question is, will it be able to change that 40-week moving average into a support? Because we can see previously it struggled. It almost tested it at some stage, tested it here, but could not change and keep the 40-week moving average a support. That means as long as the Rand consolidates below it, we still expect a stronger Rand. Yes, a little bit of a bounce now in the short term, a little bit of a weaker Rand in the short term, but as long as 1841 remains a resistance, we expect a stronger Rand. This strong support there at the bottom of this tweezer bottom is waiting at 1747. Below that level, in other words, when that support changes into a resistance again, in other words, if that floor breaks, the assumption will be that we expect the Rand to continue to strengthen to levels back at Miskin, the support at 1714, and even lower here at 17 and 5 cents. Aspen almost needs no introduction on our market, one of our favorites. But at the moment, this share is oversold, right? Our stochastic is sitting on below an 18. And very important, ladies and gentlemen, we can see a positive divergence. That blue line has broken upwards through the orange line, implying that the probability for a bounce is more likely. Now, we combine the stochastic with the price action, which is visible in the candles. The candles is a graphical representation of the price action. In other words, what the investors, the informed capital, think of this share. Now, we've got a 3-candle pattern here. And these are those 3. I've got a bearish type of candle, a doji type of candle, right? Almost like a gravestone doji type of candle. And then followed by a bullish type of candle. So this can be seen as a possible morning star formation. A morning star formation tells us that the night is behind us and the new day is on the rise. And confirmation of that will be either above the highest one of the two, because we as technical analysts want to make sure that there is enough buying power for a resistance to change into a support. So above 199 Rand 26, confirmation of optimism of that possible morning star formation will be on the cards. If that support, waiting at 197 Rand 77, changes into a resistance again, we assume that the momentum to the bottom can continue, because that will tell us that the selling pressure is stronger and that they are able to take this share even lower. Our 40-week moving average is currently a resistance, waiting at 216 Rand and 97 cents. What does that mean? The long-term sentiment towards the share is negative. However, above that 199.26, a Morningstar formation tells us that, hey, this share is maybe ready to bounce. There is enough buying power there, maybe to take this share to recent new highs. And that strong support and all of that optimism will remain as long as that strong support waiting at 197 Rand 77 remain in place. Right. Halliburton. Ticker on the New York Stock Exchange is HAL. Also very oversold at the moment. Look at that positive divergence. That K percentage, that blue line has broken upwards through the orange line. Very important. The share has stopped making new lows. Very important. The lows of the candles seem to every time, except for this week, I'll give you that exact week now, a little bit higher than the preceding weeks. That tells us that there's higher lows in the making, implying that the buyers are prepared to buy every time at a little bit of a higher price. That strong support is waiting at $27.53. And that is the support that needs to remain in place on Halliburton if we want to assume that the momentum to the top will continue. Very important, we've got a window here. All right, I'll give you that exact level of that window. That window is waiting at 30 Rand 71 because this candle is higher than the candle right next to the window, right? This high of that week of the 3rd of September is $30.68, and that high in the 23rd of September, is $30.71. All right, so $30.71, that candle has already closed a little bit of that 68 cents candle. All right, so the window starts in the week of the 26th of August at $30.75. And that candle in the week of the 23rd of September is $30.71. So we've got a $4 gap there. Now we know the rules around windows are they always get closed. It can act as a magnet if there's the buying power is strong enough to close that window. In other words, trading has to take place within that range. Or it can act as a resistance level, right? As long as that gap remains open, we assume that the momentum to the bottom remains in place. So it will be interesting to see if there are enough buyers. Yet this candle of this week is not completely finished yet. It will only be by Friday. But by the looks of things, this is a bullish engulfing candle, implying that there's enough buying power maybe to go and close that window. Last week's candle on Halliburton is a spinning candle. That implies indecision, right? Both tails on either side of the real body is almost the same in length. That tells us they were not sure whether they need to, the investors were not sure whether they need to take the share higher or lower. My 40-week moving average is waiting at $34.60, a very strong resistance because we can see in the past the buyers were just not strong enough to get that and change that line into a support and keep it one. And even if we zoom out a little bit more, we can see that there was an ugly inverse cup and handle formation, right? That is about to play out. There's the cup inverse, right? So it's the negative formation. There is the cup and there is the handle. Now the full target of this inverse cup and handle is the full length of the cup projected downwards from where the formation was confirmed, meaning should this full formation play out, it can take Halliburton to $21.81. It doesn't mean it has to go there, but it can. That's the possibility of that formation. So we can see small bounces and then a little bit of retracement again. So keep your eyes on the candles, the price action, and especially the shadows to tell you who's the strongest, because you want to be in the train where the buying power is the stronger party and not the selling side, unless you obviously are short, but that will be very dangerous with the stochastic being this oversold. STMicroelectronics, ticker on the US exchange STMEF. All right. Also very oversold at the moment. Despite the US market being so overbought, these shares are oversold. In other words, they provide a possible opportunity for buying power, right? Because an oversold situation with the stochastic being below a 20 and a positive divergence implies that the probability for a bounce to higher levels is there. All right, very similar situation. I've got a 3-candle pattern with a negative type of candle, a doji type of candle, gravestone doji candle, and a bullish type of candle. So should that strong resistance, in this case the high of last week, $31.42, should that level change into a support, optimism of a possible a morning star formation will be confirmed. We can also see that there is strong resistance, and I'll give you that exact level now and that week. I just want to make sure that it's on top of that shadow. There you go. And that is waiting at $32.93, and that is in the week of the 19th of August. So we also might be sitting here with a possible double bottom, and that will be confirmed once that resistance of $32.93 changes into a support. If that takes place, the double bottom will be confirmed. Double bottoms, inverse head and shoulders, and triple bottoms are all turnaround patterns, implying that we can see some upside. Only when this low, that is waiting at $26.87, only when that level starts to change into a resistance will the optimism about that possible double bottom be off the table, and can we assume that the momentum to the bottom will continue again. My 40-week moving average is a resistance and a very clear indication that it's been a resistance for a while. In other words, it tried to change it into support, but there was just not enough buying power to bring this level and change it into a support. That tells us that the long-term sentiment towards this share is still negative. All right. AON, an international company, many of you know them, listed on the New York Stock Exchange, needs no introduction. This share had a massive rally to the top, and now for the last 4 weeks, the share has stopped making new highs. What does that mean? It's running out of steam, right? It tells us that the sellers are keen to start taking some profit. And very important, my stochastic is extremely overbought. It's sitting on a 91, and I've got a negative divergence. That blue line has broken downwards through my orange line, implying some downside. Now, I don't have a candle yet that hints, listen, this is confirmation that the sellers are the strongest party, but I'm possibly sitting here with a hanging man. And that means confirmation of this negativity will be confirmed in a bearish type of, followed by a bearish type of candle. So that strong support at that low, waiting at $339.29, when that level changes into a resistance, it will be my first sign of weakness or confirmation that the sellers might start to take profit and that the expectation is there for a pullback. When the high, waiting at $353.54, starts to change into a support again, can I assume that the momentum to the top will continue? But very important, look at this. AON is trading at record levels. So that is also a very good place to start to take some profit. You can always buy it again if you have a long-term view, but maybe consider taking some profits, especially when that strong support, that low at $339.29, that low there starts to change into a resistance. If you've got any questions, please feel free to either send us a message via Twitter or email us at admin@francedeclerc.com. Have a great week. Take care.